Hello and welcome to another set of turns of Minion 6. I'm the False God. We are playing today as Pyrene. We just had our big fight with Jotun. I believe we're jumping in on turn 25. Finish some conjuration. Miss on sights. We go ahead and Naba attacks Jotunheim and wins. We attack Jotunheim and win. Naba attacks Jotunheim and wins. We attack Jotunheim and win. We also got a Skull Mentor, which we were, desperately overdue for anyone who's familiar with the channel. I don't know where. So far in Dominion 6, I have found a ton of early research items. So that's pretty nice. I mean, this is very similar to just finding one of our mages. A lot of the time. The walls are now severely damaged in the Amber Fields. You could see I did end up changing my mind a little bit between when the last turn ended. I sent a number of people home. Probably could have sent more, but I did send a bunch of them home. They're going to research and keep trying to knock this down. Again, we lost out on a bunch of research, but it is what it is. Some nice little raiding. We're going to go ahead and pull back for the moment. And we're gonna look to put this under siege, hopefully in the near future. We've got this stack of swordsmen coming up, and they can look to put this under siege. Once this is under siege, we can more reliably take this. This also should be falling fairly soon. You can see I do cast a Call the Winds, but I'm casting it here. We're gonna start moving our blood hunters over and start blood hunting. I do think that this is not quite perfect. I think that I should have cast a lot more Call the Winds, put them here, look to one turn, finish this off in one turn. Right now I'm planning to finish it off in 2. Then I can take those birds and use them to help me reduce these forts, siege through them, and then I'll still have them available for blood hunting. So I don't think this one is wrong. I just think I probably needed more. Because we're going to end up doing it with a lot of our air gems anyway, is actually converting it into birds for patrol strength. As I think they're currently the most efficient, certainly in the early game, blood hunting patrol chaff you can get. Some things, like Call the Wild, which we might do later, are less efficient in the immediate term, but they do continue to create spawns. So over a long enough time period, they pull ahead, although I do think that the time period is pretty long. But we kind of are going to end up probably needing to turn a lot of our gems into patrol chaff to support our blood hunting. That's just kind of a big... Blood hunting is kind of our thing, or at least will be eventually. Go ahead and keep searching with that little guy. Shame for us that it's not Glamour 1 to use the Glamour spell, it's Glamour 2. So we're continuing to march forwards, wasting a little bit more time here with our mages, but so be it. And we're going to go ahead and look to pull back. Somebody's going to get diseased eventually in one of these sites. I want to check which one it is. Because I'd kind of forgotten about it in the current game. Nabaz besieging a fort. He's just camping. Now this one eventually is probably going to be ours. We're going to work out. So first of all, diplomacy in this I believe is non-binding, so we can attack each other without an issue to trade territory. So we'll settle. We figured we'd kind of settle up the territory once we were finished. So I'm not too worried about this. Being out of my hands at the moment. I'm confident we'll be we can trust cookies and we'll get it back. So yeah, besides that, we're still just kind of chilling. I guess we could talk about research some more. We'll do it on 26. We got nature gems from man. We traded away all of our glamour gems. Did a Call the Winds. Plus some gold. That's bad. That's good. Critically damaged. So now we're going to go ahead and fly the rest of our Sorginas in. We do know that there are a number of sacreds in here. The wall defense is going to be trickier than it was in 5. In particular, there's some extra units that are going to spawn in the wall to help him clog the gate. If he does have any more astral mages, right, body ethereal in the gate is going to be kind of tough. We're definitely going to want to have access to some additional firepower to get through that. Also, very scary for us, and it's something we want a lot of the mages for, is we do want to actually put Mist Form back on, because those, even though it's not going to be perfect, but the wall archers of Jotunheim's forts are those rock throwers, but with infinite rocks. So we want to make sure we want to make sure that this whole thing is resolved in a way that doesn't cost too many of our sacred lives. So I'll be sacrificing some more research points on the altar of sacreds, and maybe I have the wrong mix here, but this is what we're going to be looking to do. We are going to move on to this fort and try and put that under siege as well. Cookies is trying to get us to get Jotunheim, but we just have to do, or I don't know, trying to guess. We're discussing how long it's going to take, but we have to see. I think we have to put this one to rest first, and then we can look. We can maybe use our higher mobility cavalry. We might be able to get like a double move in here somewhere, and then do it like a turn after, because the mages can fly, so we would just be leaving behind the infantry, who can catch up and help with the siege later. So we'll look and see if we can do that. We're going to start our hunting. In case anyone's forgotten, these guys do have Blood Searcher 1s. This guy's searching as a 5, and the other one's a 4. So that's pretty nice. This province is 8,000 people. Under 7,500 is when you start to take checks to not succeed from population. So we'll look to be, we can, when it's still in the 7,000s, you're still mostly going to be passing the check. But when it eventually gets under 7, we'll probably look to get out. Patrolling does cause more population loss than it did in the past. So populations are up, but I don't know if it's exactly proportionate, but it doesn't give you that much more from a blood hunting perspective, because you will just kill it faster as well. So something to keep in mind there. We're gonna go ahead and finish off Evocation 4 here for Thunderstrike to help us in this fort battle. And then we're going Construction 5. We're going to try and put up Mother Oak. So at Construction 5, right, we have Thistle Mace and Armor of Thorns, both of which give a plus nature. That will give us a nature 5, and that nature 5 can then cast Mother Oak. We are currently recruiting everywhere, which is nice. It's not necessarily something we're going to be able to do all the time. You can see we have not built a lab here, but we would never have been able to recruit anything out of it anyway. So I don't hate this. We're going to make some little Bakemono chiefs. I think this was a mistake in at least some sense. The Castellan here does have more leadership, which is going to end up being a bit of a problem for us. I was just like, oh, stealthy, they're more useful, yada, yada, yada. But that extra leadership is actually going to end up mattering from the sheer quantities of chaff that we're going to be trying to put together to blood hunt with. But we live and we learn. So we'll sort of see how that goes. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and try and put them under siege here. Jotunheim so far, we've seen basically no raiding. So I expect at some point we'll see something. I would expect a fight here on his fort. I would expect him to try and take this, perhaps. So we'll see if we get some Jotun raiding in the near future, in turn 27. Nothing found. We captured 23 blood slaves with our 2 blood hunters, which is pretty nice, because I believe it is your blood level plus a d6. The d6 can explode, and then it's multiplied by a percentage based on the age. But 23 out of 2 hunters is quite good. And we do see Jotunheim has gone ahead and rode out. This is his fort that he is now freed. We can see he's got a bunch of Jotun werewolves and the Geishas. Presumably, they are going to be doing their turbo communion. I think he has, unfortunately, not quite the right ratio. I think he'd want more Geisha to Scrotty, but obviously you gotta work with what you have. Handful of Thrim's Herdings, and the rest of it is summoned long dead. He attacks us with the Wolf Riders, beat our barbarians. We attack and put his fort under siege. He's gonna ride out with just a chief to ping our forces here. In the Amber Fields, Naban's scout attacks Jotunheim's cap. Naba attacks Jotunheim. Asfidel fights man with some mannequins. We lose 50% of our tax and 5% of our 5 province income. It sucks. We also lost 2 dominion. I think this province, yes, is currently Misfortune 2. It's not under the effects of our dominion. 1 water gem. We finally breached Amber Fields. You can see our patrolling troops killed 81 filthy brigands as a result of our 2 blood hunters. And we picked up the Lost Legion, which is an underwater mage, and he's going to go and try and take this for us. So that's nice. This guy can also then potentially site search Astral, or we can use those pearls like we talked about, potentially, and keep this guy on retainer for some time and have him cast probing on all of our stuff. So both good options. We're going to go ahead and storm. I'm not going to ping. I think I know what's in there. A pretty good idea. You know, we'll find the Thrim's Herdings, find maybe a couple mages, maybe a couple of summoned chaff units. We're going to be doing storm, more imps, more swarm. I brought a bunch of earth gems for some reason. I was thinking that maybe I would use them. I just wanted to have them just in case, but we're not going to be doing that. We're also casting Aerofend, or whatever the current Aerofend. It's not called Aerofend at this stage. Arrow Ward. We're going to cast some Arrow Wards to try and ward off those big giant boulders. And everyone has enough gems that we can be, we will survive 1 gem bait. And it's hard for me to imagine that there's a second. He could, if like he has the research that his god can gem bait us. And then he rides out with stuff to gem bait us. And then we'd go into the fort without storm and without our arrow ward. But that seems unlikely to me. So we didn't do that. And I didn't bring enough gems for that anyway. I don't think. Yeah, I didn't have enough gems for that anyway. So otherwise, it's a similar game plan. We're going to distract him a little bit. And try and knock him down. Imps to distract again in the interim. The swarm is less valuable here because it can clog up the gate instead of us, but they can also eat rocks. Some of them fly, so they can also potentially sneak in amongst other stuff. We're gonna go ahead and send I thought he might break out here, right, because we'd seen Scrotty. So we're gonna go ahead and raid down into Henwood, leaving just a scout here in charge. And then this guy in Griffa is where he gets diseased, and he's not old, so he had to pick the disease up from a site. So there's something in Griffa that I gotta remember. But there is something here. Okay. It's worth keeping in mind. But yeah, so a little bit more raiding. I'm gonna go ahead and try and storm. Still researching up our construction plan for Mother Oak. And we're getting our hunting online. So 20 something for turn 1. We don't currently have any bodyguards for these guys. We're in Friendly Dominion, which reduces the chances of assassinations. Additionally, I did give them a blood slave, so hopefully they'll cast imps or something. Probably something we should try and rectify, though. And yeah, that's pretty much good for there. Let's go ahead and go to 28. Go ahead and see our storm. So I think this war began right somewhere around. The Ulm Magic Shop is open for business. This time we only got 17. We were able to successfully take out the mermen, which is great. Jotunheim attacks Nabaa. Nabaa attacks Jotunheim, but loses. Now there's even more stuff here. So I mean, this is what's left of. I think this is basically the entirety of what Jotun has, minus his god. And there looks like they want to fight Nabaa, not us. So that's pretty great news. It's also not like it's particularly unfair. We fought their whole big army first. So Nabaa, I'm sure, is itching to get in on the conflict and get to take a big fight. Nabaa, I think this was a province trade with Vanarus. He's not, I know he's not fighting him. So I think that was, they talked about trading provinces. Asphodel attacks Man. Some giant scary disaster. He's got sages too, which is terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. We go ahead and conquer another province. Here you can see we've got just so you know, sort of our usual thing. I did not learn from my mistakes and put these guys in front, so they're not doing our imps. These guys are hopefully going to draw arrow fire. And yeah, like I expected, there's 20 Singfrims herdings, 20 miscellaneous Jotun, plus the fort defense, and then some summoned stuff, and a couple of mages. We now have access to Storm and Thunderstrike, which is pretty different from last time. And they are very much in a ball. Now, Thunderstrike is not the same as it was in Dom 5. Would have been, I think it was probably more effective in Dom 5, but that's okay. Boom! There goes a Gaija. There he goes. See, we've made contact. And our guys are basically, again, they're not going to cast Thunderstrike off script, more or less. So we get the Thunderstrikes out of our initial script, and that's pretty much it. They'll switch to doing fireflies and other sort of assorted nonsense. We're trying to get through the gate here, and we're through the gate. It's still nice shooting techs. It's a little slow going. We're making it up the wall. Trying to knock these guys down. Haven't really started here. So, it's not great. That was a nice big strike on the Thrims herdings. We do eventually, though, manage to give them a good enough whacking. But forts are kind of strong in Dom 6. Especially giant forts. Shockwave. Alright. And we eventually chew our way through. We lost 15 more knights. I think that battle looked worse for us than the first time. We lost 15 knights and 26 swordsmen, and then a couple other miscellaneous. No mages die, though. We wipe out the rest of his army in the north, including another 8 mages. 30 Thrims herdings, plus miscellaneous stuff. That's great news. We get some Dominion and some Order in the Gentle Plains, which is really nice, because that's one of our great provinces. Our scout dies. Tragic. And our scout dies from disease. And then patrolling troops have knocked down another 60 brigands. So you can see, right, we are chewing our way through this province. We've got 2 sets of birds. And we're going to move the army south. Mages are all going to stay behind, except for the Acrobelts, who are a little bit slower. And we're going to look to go ahead and take this, move back on to the Forest of Gun, and then this army is going to move here, where they can either move to check Jotunheim, or they can take the Forest of Gun. Potentially depends a little bit on how well Nabaa does. If Nabaa leaves, there's a whole army still alive here. We'll probably do the Forest of Gun. If this army dies or is trapped, we'll be more likely to go on Jotunheim to put them in the final headlock. But you can see this war's been going on for like 8 turns. We've just taken the first fort. It just is, it takes a long time to siege stuff down. So definitely, I would say, have a plan for how you're going to siege stuff down. A better plan than I did. Because otherwise you can spend a lot of time doing that. And if you're doing a high mage strategy like I am, you could potentially waste a lot of research. But yeah, Gentle Plains up to 32,000 pop. Got another contingent of Sacreds coming out. Still going for our construction move. Looks like it's going to take probably like 3 turns to try and put up, to finish the construction. Then another turn to make both the items, and then we can do Mother Oak. We have plenty of gems for it, for like a nice good size casting. Which is pretty dope. And yeah, we're gonna keep marching into Jotun. He did finally start raiding, which is great. And he's got a nice sized army here. You can also see that Nabah has been hitting it with Breath of the Desert. So it is not as cold as it once was. So that's gonna be a tough one for him to fight in. I think we have time probably for one more turn. We can get through 29. Let's see. Throne of Water goes to Ulm. We miss on a bunch of magic sites. 18 blood slaves. We go ahead and take the Endless Plain. We get an assassination attempt. So for people who haven't seen it before, you can now have your guys assassinated for blood hunting. So we got to put some extra guys on just to be a little bit safer. Now this guy does have, you know, he's got some earth. He's no protection, but he has good hit points. This Athame does give him health, but this is also dominions, so you can absolutely get killed by commoners, even when you're a cool goat thing, when you choose not to cast any spells. But in this case, he went ahead and cast all the spells after the fight was over, but he was okay. But yeah, we want to get some. We patrol out a scout. We get patrolled out as a scout. We went ahead and grabbed a merc to help us siege this down. And also it goes back under siege, and so we're going to move here and look to put Jotun under siege as well. Once he no longer has any streams of income, he should start deserting. With any real troops he has left. This guy's diseased too. All kinds of diseases going on. But yeah, so we're in pretty good shape. Oh, this is what I've been waiting for this. We randomed an N4. So that's pretty rare. That's a, 1 out of 3, 1 out of 10, 1 out of 3. So 1 out of 90. Now, unfortunately, it doesn't help us cast Mother Oak any sooner because both the nature boosters are on the same tier of construction. What it does do, though, is if we do get to cast it, we have a more powerful caster who then, makes those gems we do spend go a little farther. And he'll also come in handy later, right? So this represents, with construction 5 and 6, at construction 7, he could be N7. With all the stuff we have right now. If we had other, that's not counting like a ring of sorcery or wizardry or a moonvine bracelet or anything. So pretty much all the nature we could ever need, this guy, for ritual purposes, this guy's got. So that's pretty nice. And yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and keep marching into Jotun. So I'm gonna go ahead and we'll call this video here. I know I'd sort of been talking about this Jotun thing like it's a fait accompli, but I don't see anything left. There's the god, and there's a Gaija, and there's some wolves. So we'll see what he has. It'll still take us some time to siege it down, whether there's anything in there or not. It's possible that he breaks out, beats this Nabah army, and then we have to sort of do something about it from our perspective. But for now, I'm just going to go ahead and research. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and call it here. Thanks, everybody, for watching, and I hope to see you all in the next one. Have a great day.